This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
Facts, boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, Wonder Woman and Tasmanian Devil.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the marvelous one, Mr. Mike.
Hello.
It's always so energetic, and I love it because we're going to do nothing but grind you down for the... No, I'm kidding.
That's wonderful.
I had so much fun.
GrindYouDown.com.
Well, that's
a
what we
different
do,
site.
yeah. Maybe we can talk about that later.
Sure.
But
in our quiet time.
I had so much fun last week with the whole Batman Elmer Fudd thing.
I liked it a lot.
Which was, I thought, a real fun crossover. And
Yeah.
doing more research, or even looking back into there, I know that there were a lot more issues that they did like that. So I went through and I found another one that I just thought was kind of random.
Yeah.
Which all of them, I guess, when you think of it, kind of are.
Sure.
But all came out in like 2017, 2018. And the pairings where we covered Batman and Elmer Fudd last week, but they also did Porky Pig and Lex Luthor,
Oh, wow.
Daffy and Joker, Lobo and Roadrunner.
Daffy and Joker.
See, I have it, and I just
Yeah.
looked at it, and it didn't look like I thought it would.
I still would like to see it.
Yeah, no. I'll
If you
bring
can bring
it
it,
with
I
us.
would love to see
Yeah,
that.
no, I can bring it with me still. But
And this is, so you said 2017?
2017, 2018
So
is
this is
when these
about
came
the
out.
time that Warner Brothers took over DC?
I mean,
and
they've
all that
had
stuff,
they've
or
had
they
DC
had it
for a while.
long time?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
okay.
and it's just one of those things where I guess you try to just,
Well, I mean, you put out one of them, and it makes sense, to just
yeah.
keep doing it.
I think there's like
because-
10. There's Martian Manhunter and Marvin Martian.
Oh, wonderful.
And then there's one with Sylvester and
That's like a
Tweety.
no-brainer,
I don't know. I'll have
Throwing
to.
those two together.
But still, the one that I found that I thought we would focus on today, and I have a little bit of not house cleaning, but something to look forward to that I want to tease a bit before we get into today's. But I found Wonder Woman and the Tasmanian Devil. Because if you thought of any two pairings that would go together.
That's it. That's what I would pick. Yeah.
But the story is actually.
See, I would think Lobo would go better with this.
Kind of. It makes
Yeah.
sense, at least kind of aesthetically. I don't know
Yeah.
looking at them. But still, very interesting take, and we'll get into that. But something that I've been thinking about since last week's show, Mike.
Yeah.
A dangerous pastime, I know. Just me thinking. In
Yeah, sure.
but
Same here.
I talked about something that was very near and dear to me.
Yeah,
and
what's that?
that was Mr. Miracle. I think we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talked about Mr. Miracle. I don't know much about it.
No.
I know there's a movie coming.
Is there?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They've been talking about the Mr. Miracle movie, but I don't. But I think it's like
Miracle Man.
2026 or something.
There's a bunch of I don't know. There's so
really?
many.
Oh,
Still,
maybe.
Here
He
we.
DC or Marvel?
He's DC.
Okay.
Here's comic book nerd time. That is
Let's
just
go.
going to sound like just gibberish to some people.
I think if you're listening to this,
That's true.
You probably
You're very
give a
niche
shit
at
about
this
comics.
point. Yeah. And we appreciate all
Oh,
of you,
yes.
especially Jeff, who's been with us
Jeff, thank you for your ink-stained little hands.
forever. Oh man, I have like a smoker's laugh today for some reason. But anyway, Shazam. Are you familiar with Shazam?
Yeah, absolutely.
Back in the day, was
I think
a character.
he goes Shazam.
He does. He was known as Mr. Marvel.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh,
then
that's right.
due
That's right.
to-
Yeah,
there was a bunch of
yeah,
renaming things. Now it's Shazam. All of that. Well, over in the UK,
Oh.
since they couldn't name him Mr. Marvel over
Uh-huh.
there as well, they named him to keep the M in the insignia for when they were reprinting stories.
Mhm.
They named him Miracle Man.
Okay.
So there's a UK version of this same character that's Miracle Man, but in the
He
80s.
parts the waters.
Well,
does things
no,
like that.
it's the same, essentially
okay.
Shazam character and everything.
Oh, okay.
Just different name
How
than
weird.
Billy Batson, and instead of being called Shazam or
It's
Mr.
still
Miracle,
Billy
it's Miracle
Batson?
Man. No, they changed.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
remember. it's been a while since I've read
Bats
it.
and Billy.
No, but I
Sure,
mean,
they
name
just
changes,
switched
but
it.
like
Yeah.
in the idea of it's the same. But then in the 80s,
Yeah.
they have a book over there. I call it, or a magazine
They have a
comic
book
series.
in
They
England?
do. I didn't mean it like that,
They have
but
that
called
one book?
2080 that has Judge Dredd is from
Yeah.
that and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
They would do reprints of these, and then eventually a little writer by the name of Alan Moore
Oh, wow.
started to like write new stories for the character
Yeah.
back in the 80s around the same time he was doing V for Vendetta.
Watchmen, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
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 V for Vendetta, stuff like that, and it just kind of took off. So Mr. Miracle is a completely different character that is owned by Marvel now.
Yeah.
That it's all weird. But
So, Watchmen, the movie
Miracle Man. I think I said Mr. Miracle. See, it's
Yeah.
very confusing.
The movie is cool, but it's very long and it's got some really dry spots in it, and it ends differently from the graphic novel.
Yes.
But I will tell you that that TV show
Was really
oh
good.
my gosh, that was good.
Can we? I know this isn't necessarily
That and The
related to-
Boys. I mean, those are the two
Oh.
best hero shows.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there too, and I think it's just because of the ridiculousness of the boys.
Mhm.
I will.
Well, they buy into the over the
Oh,
topness
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
But at this point, I think the show is a lot better than the comic book.
oh
is.
yeah, yeah.
Or was just because, and no disrespect to Garth Ennis, who also had a Preacher that got turned into a TV
yeah,
show, and
yeah. That was
he's had a
not
bunch of other
wonderful.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, so a prolific comic
Yeah,
book writer
yeah.
in his own right. But I just think that they are able to dive into so much more in the TV show
Sure.
and be able to compare it to things going on in the
Well,
current
yeah,
world.
you can
And it's
drag it
just
out
so,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really cool there. But that's always, obviously, it's two completely different mediums. Anyway, all of this rambling just to say that I wanted to talk about and actually go over Mr. Miracle.
Yeah.
But then the more I started thinking about why, and I'm specifically talking about the 2017 Tom King, Mitch Gerard series that was 13 issues.
Mhm.
That's, all together one complete story. Mr. Miracle has never been that big of a character. It's a Jack Kirby creation from after he left Marvel and went to DC.
Oh, okay.
It only lasted I think 18 issues back when he did it. And then they revamped it and then maybe the late 80s for 6 issues and the 90s for a little bit for 12. We covered him. You do know a little bit about Mr. Miracle just because he is involved in one of the worst comic book story, or it was just bad, and we've already went over it, where that sleazy guy tried to make Superman have sex with his wife.
Oh yeah.
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 That's the 80s. So,
Yeah. Sure.
but
Makes total
aside
sense.
from that, the series that Tom King and Mitch Gerard
Wait,
did
that
in
was Mr.
2017.
Miracle?
Yeah, that's Mr. Miracle. Big Bardas, his wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Big
This,
Barda.
yeah, not necessarily the.
Goofiest name.
It is, but see, there's so many things to this, and there's so much.
But so is
intricacies.
Mr. Miracle. That's a pretty goofy name too.
It is.
So.
But all of that to be said is the reason that I think the book is so good on so many levels is just how much history that they kind of wink and nod at when it comes to the creation of the character as a whole, and how the comic actually, in a lot of ways, parallels things like the relationship between Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and just the creation process of everything.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
it hits on so many levels. So I think that the only way to actually, I'm going super, I realize that this is very
You're good.
dense of me.
You're good.
Super comic book nerd on it. And I think that the best way to do this is to.
Well, this is a podcast, and people in the podcast world hate super
Stories.
nerds. Oh,
I know.
boy.
But this is going to be I think what we will do is focus on something I've wanted to talk about for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's because of my absolute love and admiration for Jack Kirby and just how, in a lot of ways, I feel like he was screwed out of a lot of credit that he deserved. Also look at how maybe, I don't want to say that Stan Lee was necessarily a bad man, but a great character that has things that, but I don't want to take anything away from him because he also was a very good guy.
No, he's great.
But that's the thing is there's so many levels to the real world story that then find their way into this that I think it's just really cool to look at and go over. So I have a lot of stuff that I kind of want to plan to tie all together.
I think
so. This may be a couple week type thing, but I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Great. I think for Stan Lee, he was in the right place at the right time, and he's a Ginsu knife salesman kind of guy. He's going to take it and run with it.
And true, I've heard people.
I don't really blame him.
No,
necessarily.
that's the thing too is he always wanted all the books I've read and stuff like that,
And not everybody gets along with each other.
And that's true too. As much as you want people to,
Yeah.
and like that's part of the problem. Like, I'll just like get into it a little bit. Is it depends on who you ask. It all comes down to the creation of certain characters or who had a hand in what.
Absolutely.
And Jack Kirby feeling like he never got credit for anything, that it was all given to Stan, when in his mind, you know, I think that I've seen a quote from, I can't remember if it was Lynn Wayne or somebody, Marv Wolfman, somebody who worked there at Marvel at the time.
Marv Wolfman.
Great name.
Nice.
There's great comic book names. But I can't remember who it is. I don't want to misquote, but said that he was there one day when essentially Stan Lee just told Jack Kirby, hey, I want to do a Fantastic Four story where they meet God. That's all he told him.
Oh, wow.
And Jack Kirby came back next to pitch it and had the entire Galactus Silver Surfer thing laid out there.
Oh, okay. So that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
wow.
But and what he would do a lot of times is not only would they just have these talks of where, you know, Stan would be like, hey, I'm thinking this and this and this.
Yeah.
And Jack's just listening.
Yeah.
And he'd go home and either draw everything like Stan said or throw his own thing in there.
Sure.
He would even write like wording of what he thought should go in the dialogue. Like he was doing essentially everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But then Stan would get it, go through afterwards and just dialogue everything.
Oh, I'm sure.
And that's the Marvel method, is what they would do is they would have the artist essentially draw and paste the entire story.
Yeah.
And all the writers would do is go in and fill in the speech bubbles afterwards.
Okay. Huh,
so
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of really cool
That's
stuff
pretty
that we can
amazing.
get to.
Yeah, I would love to see, like, I know you've told me to get that book and read. It's, what's it called? The one about comic books.
I don't know. There's a lot of them.
Well,
I have a lot
you
of
gave
them.
me one, and I think I put it on my Kindle and just never read it.
Oh, the Slugfest
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one was really good.
But that one's about...
The battle between Marvel and DC.
Okay.
Some of it's covered. Like it does bring up like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee stuff in there too.
Yeah, I want to say that I've watched some sort of documentary. It may have been a TV thing on the Stan Lee thing, but I can't remember much about it. You know what I mean? Just the fact that they didn't get along and left.
But
and
I
all
mean,
that
and there's
stuff.
also things like I say all this, and it's not like I still don't think that at times Stan Lee could have, you know, a good heart and be a good person.
Sure.
Where he's great just like everybody else. And at times I honestly did kind of, in the books that I've read and stuff, felt sad just because he was this giant icon in this world that it seemed like his family didn't necessarily care about.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's got to be a weird thing to deal with too.
But, you know, when you think about it, he had to take it on his back and make it bigger. You know, I mean, that was just, it probably needed one true leader kind of thing, you know, somebody to make decisions, even if they were bad.
No, true. And there's so many things. Well, and that's the thing too, is how much of it that he wasn't involved in, that his name was just on.
Yeah, that's true.
He did. I'm going to get the year wrong, but I'm pretty close. I feel like he did not write a comic after 1967.
Wow.
But it always said Stan Lee Presents all the way up until the 2000s.
Sure.
He would then write the newspaper. I did air quotes. The newspaper, like strips that they would do.
Yeah.
He wrote that into the 70s. But then Roy Thomas took over as the ghostwriter from the 70s until it ended in the early 2000s, and it still said written by Stan Lee.
Wow.
So there's things like
Is
that
that written by Stan Lee or presented by?
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and double check.
Because I'm guessing that's two different things.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, the presented by in the comics
It's like
was
being
just
an
to
executive producer. You know, I mean, what the hell are you doing? You're
anyway,
standing around.
There's just a lot of stuff there that I think could be fun to cover.
Yeah, that would
and
be
then
fun.
also getting into the story itself, which is great.
Why don't you and I cover the whole thing?
I mean,
if there's, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's what we're going to dive
okay.
into. Then.
Enjoyed that story.
Yeah, no, I'm just letting you know
that is cool. I would love to.
We are about to embark on, at least if anything, I think that for us to be, I want to get to a place where when I dive into actually talking about Mr. Miracle, we can go at it as a place, because this is super nerdy of me.
Yeah.
But we can go at it into a place to where I feel like you at least it sounds just so fucking nerdy for me to say, where you can understand kind of a little bit of the subtext underneath. And I think it'll just...
What am I hearing?
Was it me?
No, it sounded like...
Dying?
I don't know. All the birds are flying away, too. Is that a bad sign? I don't know. It sounded like either there's music or there's something going on down on the street. again, we're on the 21st floor, and so we overlook all this stuff. Wow, that's nice.
I died. I'm sorry.
Those birds are freaking me out, though. There's
Which
like
one?
this giant flock of birds.
Oh,
that
right
keeps
over
taking
there.
off and coming back and taking. Oh, there's some down here too.
Yeah. Oh, I
what
see
is
this.
happening?
Those. Oh, hold on. This is a live look.
We're in an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
We are. We're gonna go check and make sure that.
Yeah, we got to go look at these birds.
All right, we'll be right back, and we're gonna dive into Wonder Woman and the Tasmanian Devil after
Enjoy this break, brought to you by Push Soda.
Peach. Welcome back.
Thanks, push soda. Push.
We were discussing how we don't think the windows up here double paned on the
Yeah, they're not double paned,
floor.
and we were debating as to the best way to get the windows open. And then I said, well, a rock. Maybe.
Yeah, but that came
might.
far too late in the conversation.
Yeah. We were talking about power tools and the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Anyway,
throw a chair through it.
Speaking of absolute chaos,
Do you think a chair would just bounce off the window?
I don't know. What movie is it where that happens?
Yeah,
Where he,
there's somebody who
tries to
tries to break the window and it just bounces off.
It depends on what type of chair. If it's like one of those flimsy plastic ones, maybe.
Well, I'm thinking one of these. And it would have to
This
be...
has a little bit of...
Like, it has a little heft to it at
Yeah.
the bottom. Yeah. I think you would have to use
Just
the
like
bottom.
me. It has a
Yeah,
little
that's
heft
it.
to it
You got
at the
it.
bottom.
Yeah. That's written
That's
in
what
my...
I was going to say. That's what it's going to say on my tombstone.
That's what it said in
and
my
I felt
yearbook.
Like, oh, all right.
yeah,
boom.
the same thing. Same
Yeah.
joke.
Just different places.
That's right.
All right. Let's go ahead and dive into some chaos.
Let's
that is
go.
Wonder Woman and the Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah.
And it's very much the same setup like last week, where the first part is a longer story that's drawn in a more serious type tone.
It's rated T
For
teen.
Oh, I was going to say for Tammy. This is for
It's
Tammy.
rated T for Tammy.
But so the first half and the longer portion of it is actually this more serious style.
Yeah.
And then we have the more kind of like cartoon
There's
style.
a cartoony one. Like
I
the
will
other
tell
one.
you
Yeah.
though.
Wonder Woman looks like a badass on this cover.
She
I'm gonna
does.
tell you that.
We're going to do it differently than we did last week,
Although
though.
her ass is hanging out.
We are going to skip to
Uh-oh.
the last one first, just because I like to save the better for
Okay.
the end.
So we're going to do the cartoony
We're
going to
do the cartoony one
gotcha.
first.
I will not look at this side.
Because, all it is you just have to see the setup here, and it's essentially a retelling
Oh, wow.
of the Trojan horse story.
Yeah.
Trojan
Trojan horseplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There are just a couple things that I want to bring up. If you know the story of how the Trojan horse was used, then it's essentially the same thing here, except it's given in like a sing-songy, rhymey style with a bunch of Looney Tunes characters in place.
There's a ton of characters in this.
Yeah, in place of all the main...
And the giant white horse, like
character-
you know what that horse is from, right?
It's the...
Yeah, the
It's
Barber
the cartoon.
Seville thing,
Yeah.
that opera one. Yeah.
Yes, but the Trojan horse itself is the giant pink, opera-looking horse from one of the Looney Tunes. I will say there is a lot of great, obviously, just Looney Tune references in this.
Sure.
But like we see, Helen of Sparta is just presented as Wonder Woman as Helen in this. Taz is Paris. Daffy
Wait, Taz is who?
Paris.
Paris.
A prince. From the word, like this is the whole.
Oh.
Like they actually have the characters
Oh, okay.
from.
I got you.
The story.
Okay.
Daffy is. I'm gonna butcher names. Always do. King Menelaus.
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 Yeah, Menelaus, I guess.
But then also.
Of course, I also put out a thing this week, an episode of Found Sound this week, and it said, tiptoe through the Tithers.
Wait, one more time.
Tithers. The word is tithers, right? Because it's this guy in a church singing about giving giving your tithe, right? I read it probably 20 times. Tiptoe through the tithers. Like even when I recorded it, I was like, "All right, here we go. Tiptoe through the tithers." So people out there just think I'm a freaking idiot. But I just left it alone. I don't care.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Whatever. Tithers.
Yeah, they're gonna make fun. I'm mispronouncing that, but like
cares?
Yosemite Sam is Achilles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. Wile E. Coyote is Odysseus.
Oh.
Like we have, just all these things, but they just retell the tale of the Trojan horse.
Ajax.
The things that are brought up that I just found weird about this whole thing
Mm-hmm.
is a line that I never thought I would see is Daffy Duck, because in the story, Helen is, kidnapped and they're all back to go save Helen of Troy.
Right, sure.
Well, Taz has Helen here in this story.
I say yeah, sure. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
And Daffy, as the king, wanting to send them out to go get his wife.
Yeah.
His quote, though, is, "I'm a cuckold duckold."
Oh no.
Yeah. Daffy Duck.
Oh, that's not great.
Daffy Duck, guys. That is not something I knew about his
I'm
character.
a cuckold, a duckold. Help me get back my life.
Because it's sing-songy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The first part was, "Why do you mean he took off with your wife? I'm a cuckold, a duckhold. Help me get back
It
my
means
life."
exactly what. Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
"And declare, man, dear brother, we'll whoop him and then some. We'll fetch back your bride. So swears Armageddon."
And that's
Foghorn Leghorn.
Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah.
But essentially,
Fascinating.
we get to the part of where everybody's inside the Trojan horse.
Well, they are too. They're packed.
And it's taken inside the city walls.
Mm-hmm.
But, Wonder Woman's like, because it starts out as like Wonder Woman singing a song to Taz while he sleeps. And she's like, all right, well, this is where it ends. Sadly, like,
Right,
the
sure.
Trojan. And he's like, nope, this is my dream. This is what happens. And in his dream, he just eats the Trojan horse and scares everybody off. And that's the end.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
good.
it is what it is.
It is. I mean, it's like
It was
three
very,
pages.
but it was very clever. I appreciated all the references to
Sure.
the actual,
Yeah.
literally, I'm not taking away from it. I just think that the other story is just going to be a little more
Yeah.
juicier for us to dive into,
Sure.
because we have also the alternate cover, which is also cartoony, which I thought was really good
I'm glad
on the
they
inside
didn't
too.
do that alternate cover. Yeah, that's fine. It's still a little goofy.
Well, I mean, but it fits the theme
Yeah, I
of where
guess
like
so.
it
I
did
guess
last,
you're right. Yeah.
because we had
Yeah.
the serious with Batman
Yeah,
last week.
Okay.
So we start off our journey with Wonder Woman traveling through
beautiful
the
art.
jungles of Tasmania. It is very good art.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And while she's going through, I should say, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at all the names on the covers to make sure.
Yeah, you're good.
Bedard, Kitson, Caldwell, Floyd, and
Kozłowski.
Kinzierski.
Okay.
All workers on this. And you're right.
Kinzierski.
The art is gorgeous. And I did enjoy this first story. I enjoyed both stories, but I just think this one's going to be a little bit better for us. We go into, again, Wonder Woman's out in Tasmania, and she's searching for something.
Sure.
And what we find is she comes across exactly what she's looking for, and it's drawn in a really great way. And it's this giant, kind of just shadowy beast
Yeah.
off in the distance, and we can see the little hair horns.
Yeah.
And so you kind of know it's Taz
And
already.
the eyes.
And the eyes. But it's drawn more in a serious style to look
Yeah.
like an actual beast.
Yeah.
And I love the title of, there we go, of The Devil You Know. Tony Bedard's the writer, Barry Kitson penciler, John Floyd inker, Laverne Kandinsky colorist, and Dave Sharp letterist. So,
Okay.
Jim Lee did the cover too.
Oh,
So,
there you go. That's why it looks the way it does.
But we are also greeted with a speech bubble from Wonder Woman saying, "Hello again, remember me? Because I sure remember you," teasing that at some point in time.
They've already met.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we get kind of like a throwback then from years ago of where Wonder Woman explains, and Themyscira, which is where all the Amazons live, her mother is the ruler of Themyscira.
Yeah.
So Diana is her daughter.
Look at her running around with that half horse, half man.
Minotaur,
There we are.
right?
Yeah.
Centaur.
Centaur? What's a minotaur? What's the difference?
It is
Minotaur
Centaur.
is bull.
They're both in
with
here.
human.
That is a centaur.
Yeah.
Centaur.
Centaur is horse human.
Centaur? Or
Centaur.
is centaur the...
No, it's a cither you're thinking of.
Well, no, what's the
It's called a
centaur?
cither.
Isn't that like a guitar?
No, I thought it was because cither.
We're off the rails. Let's
I
go
don't
back.
know.
So she's with this centaur here, but never.
Who's
She's
playing a cither?
she's going back explaining all the trials that she had to put herself through as
Yeah.
being one of the first children of Themyscira in however long.
Mascara?
Themyscira.
Okay.
The
Okay.
town,
okay,
yeah.
okay. I thought you were saying the mascara. I was like,
No,
okay.
Themyscira.
Brought to you by CoverGirl.
And she explains all the different trials that she went through to prove, just how worthy she was of being the essentially the queen's daughter in a way. And she's fighting all these, weird mythical creatures. Eventually, she decides, all right.
They're kind of cool looking.
They are. Yeah. I have to kind of show that I've tussled with a great beast to let them know that, all right, I essentially for sure mean business. So she goes into these crypts in a way, or a labyrinth, if you will.
Labyrinth.
And what she talks about is how once long ago, does it say the guy's name?
Jeff.
I can't remember. Yeah, we'll just say Jeff. Had to go before and battle and defeat the Minotaur.
Okay.
That live, there in the labyrinth. She didn't want to tussle with a creature as just as, dangerous as that, but she knew that there were other great beasts here in this labyrinth that she could kind of prove herself against, go back to the people.
Okay.
While she's there in the labyrinth, because not only is it this giant maze, but it has portals to other places in there. So think of this giant, I guess, like the runaway, what's the roller coaster that's in the dark at Six Flags?
Runaway Mine Train.
Is that really?
Yeah.
That's okay. Mm-hmm. So just think of that, except you can go to other portals in there too, I guess. But while she's in the labyrinth, she is spotted by the skeleton soldiers who chase after her as she dives through one of the portals. By the way, this is a young, I would say, she's late teens, early 20s type.
Yes, very much.
Diana here.
As an aside, skeleton warriors have never scared me. They seem very easy to defeat.
They do.
In Jason and the Argonauts, the Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
They're just so easy to defeat because it's just bones.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is. It's just bones.
I don't know. I guess it's the sheer number of them usually.
I think that's
right?
too. Maybe they can just overwhelm you because it's so much.
Yeah.
But they
like
chase
toddlers.
Exactly.
Get a bunch of toddlers.
Like that question about one giant duck or seven.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But she dives through a portal and they wind up in this jungle. She doesn't know where they are, but the skeletons.
Look at them; they're starting to multiply.
Yeah, and the skeletons who all hop out are like the flesh, because that's what they call her when they're chasing her down.
I was hoping you would do a voice.
Thank you.
That's great.
And one of them. I'm glad to know that you hope I
No, seriously, because you didn't, I was going to.
But in one of them, the one who's yelling has his voice covered by one of the other skeletons, and he's like, quiet. And they just kind of leave.
See, again, that kind of stuff makes no sense to me. One skeleton puts his bony hand over another skeleton's face to keep him quiet. What does that do? It's not doing anything.
Here's the thing. Some of that's just learned behavior from when you had flesh still. Okay. But they're kind of scared, and they're like, forget it.
Speak?
I don't know. Okay. But they're like, forget it. Let's just go back. And they leave. And she's like, all right, I don't know what's up here, but I do know that there's got to be some kind of beast out here then.
Sure.
I'll just go ahead and tussle with them. And while she's out there.
Just go ahead and tussle with them.
It doesn't say that. That's just how
I'm
TLDRing it. But there's just like a cyclone of just kind of wind all around her. And then all of a sudden she's met face to face with the Tasmanian Devil.
I love how when he speaks, it's just pictures. That's fantastic.
But it's not out loud.
Yeah.
She can just understand him.
Oh, okay.
That's all we come to find out, because we see after their face-to-face, we see all these speech bubbles that are just pictures, no words. And then, but she walks up to him and she goes, really now? I'm surprised you'd even bother to cook me.
Yeah, because she's on a spit. And then he's got her on a plate, and then with an apple in her mouth.
Isn't this oddly, just hear me out though, isn't that oddly kind of sexual in a way?
Yeah, well, it looks like a ball gag, yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Looks a little ball gaggy.
Maybe that's why it's teen.
It could be, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Taz is shocked because how can anybody understand his gibberish and all the sounds that he's making?
Yeah, sure.
And she just tells him hey, it's okay, I can understand you. Don't worry, if you just eat me now, that's one meal. But I can hunt you so much and teach you how to.
Sure.
She's trying to get her way out of it now that she's face to face with this guy.
Yeah.
And she's
Give a Taz a fish, teach a Taz
exactly.
a fish.
And she's like, all right, I'll go get you some food to get away. And Taz does his signature kind of spin and just barricades around her. Yeah, exactly. Of no, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. He's on to her. So instead, she reaches in her bag and realizes, and this is also from the Looney Tunes, which I did enjoy, that while he's so riled up, she pulls out her harp and she starts playing music. Because how do you always soothe Taz?
Music soothes the savage beast.
Exactly.
Yeah. This and him with the sounds and all that kind of stuff. It always reminds me how great Mel Blanc was.
Yes.
You know, I mean, he was just a genius.
You know, he was allergic to carrots, right?
Was he really?
But yet
Oh,
he
I
would
think you told me
would
that
take a
before.
bite of an
Yeah,
actual
and then
carrot and spit it out.
Yeah. Because nothing else makes that sound. I think we've had that joke before. Why not an apple?
Because yes, we have. Because then we've gone into all of the what is that? Not grift work. What's it called?
Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of like everything.
Grift work. What's the sound of picking somebody's pocket?
Hold on, you ready?
Yeah. That's
there
it.
You go.
That's it. Yeah, you did it.
So silent. Wow.
So silent.
Anyway, so she soothes him, puts him to sleep, and while he's asleep, she cuts off one of his hair horns.
Oh no!
To take it as like her, hey, I soothed the savage beast.
Yeah.
So we flash back to current day, and she's like, I see your hair horn grew back. Good to see, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's very upset now to see her again. And she's like, I've come to apologize. I need your help with something. And we're then shown why she needs her help. Apparently, a couple days before, Diana's mom, or Wonder Woman's mom, has invited her there to take over as the new ruler of Themyscira. While she's there in front of all of her sisters to announce this, Cersei, with an army of trolls, not Game of Thrones Cersei, but still just as evil and has magic Cersei, with an army of trolls, attacks all of them there. But she also has this pendant or talisman. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like a
talisman of Uriel, which has the face of Medusa on it, and just as you would think, it turns everybody to stone.
Right.
So Wonder Woman is trying to get out of her way, running back to escape through the labyrinth that she went in, where she went to go see Taz before. She's trying to get away from everybody before they're all turned into stone. She escapes, but Cersei wants her hunted down because obviously it's not done until we have them all.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. She says, "Bring me the head of Wonder Woman."
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's who she wants. She doesn't want any of the others to be touched.
Right.
She wants to show Wonder Woman what all she's done and then kind of crush Wonder Woman.
Okay.
That's Cersei in a nutshell. So Wonder Woman explains this story to Taz, and then Taz realizes, oh, I know what you need help with. Whatever the talisman that the Minotaur that we talked about from the beginning has. And she's like, exactly, I need your help with that. And I promise that, I'm not here to mess with you. Like, I need that.
Sure.
And she wraps the rope around herself to show him.
Tell the truth. Yeah.
Exactly. So he just kind of nods and he's like, tells her that I'll help. Yeah, I'll help her. And they go through all these different dimensions
and
portals. Have to battle a bunch of different things. There's like a giant ice creature. They have to crawl through the desert. It's like, I'm sure there's some Yetis up there probably.
Sure.
But eventually they come to a place where there's a set of armor.
Yeah.
And Taz explains that the armor's for him through his pictures because that's how she understands her. Because he's going to help her fight the Minotaur to get the amulet. He then takes, this is the only time he talks.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I mean,
he takes the rope himself. And puts it on his hands so Wonder Woman can understand him better, to tell her that he's not upset that she tricked him. She's just, or he's upset that she just took the music away.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is very,
that makes sense. Sure.
It's kind of very on brand for Taz too.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm going to help you. There's a bit of humor coming up. They finally get to this one portal to get to the main part of the center of the labyrinth, if you will, of where the Minotaur is. Right before they go in to see them, Taz basically tells Wonder Woman, yep, Taz is going to his grave.
Yeah, it's like a little picture of him jumping in his grave. Yeah.
And she's like, don't joke like that. But it's kind of funny. But then we see this Minotaur is just absolutely a beast. Evil. He does. And his first things are, I smell an old friend and a stranger. And another, I love the way that they did these bigger panels.
Yeah, it's
it
very
makes
nice.
that,
It goes across 2 pages at the very top.
Exactly. The action shots look really
very
great.
Cool.
And he says,
Taz is tiny compared to him.
Both of them are.
Yeah.
And you really get to see just how massive this Minotaur is.
Yeah.
And he tells them that I don't suffer strangers here. And he just kind of like knocks Taz off.
Sure.
And he's about to kill Wonder Woman. Because he goes, Devil, why did you bring this Amazon to the heart of our domain. Why side with her against your own kind? Like, he's like, why are you helping her, kind of thing.
What powers does a Minotaur have?
It's whatever this amulet is.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't go into
Okay.
it.
Well,
He's strong as hell.
Yeah, I think that's all it is, right? They're just super strong, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
He does say, I shall
Seems
shatter.
like a waste of the red eyes. But.
Yeah. He claims that she's bewitched Taz and that he's going to shatter her hold on him and that she is going to die.
Okay.
And it causes Taz to realize, obviously, he cares about Wonder Woman a lot, and he gets into his cyclone mode, and he bounces like a pinball, because there's no better way to describe it, as he does, off of each kind of pillar.
Like a Beyblade.
Around. Exactly. Great. He does. He looks just like a Beyblade. Against all the pillars as it crashes down on top of the Minotaur.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and while doing so, they don't defeat him, but they incapacitate him?
Like imprison him. Yeah.
For a moment, and Wonder Woman's able to steal the talisman from them, and they go back to Themyscira. While they're there, or once they get back there, Cersei is still telling them, like, we got to find Wonder Woman. She's got to be out here. When they both arrive.
Cersei looks a lot like Scarlet Witch.
She does. And Cersei tells like, go ahead and, the devil, or they always call him the devil when they talk about Taz. Sure. Like, she essentially is like, he's so clumsy. Like, how's he going to help you with all your sister's stone? And woman's just, or Wonder Woman's just like,
Woman.
Wonder Woman's just like, they don't know you like I do. Just go ahead and give me some time. And he does kind of sacrifice himself to the trolls because they all kind of gang up on him while she goes away and flings Cersei back into the labyrinth. And she snatches off the Medusa pendant as she goes in. And Cersei is met with the Minotaur.
Oh.
And that is where Cersei ends.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman turns everybody back from stone. They defeat the troll army.
With the amulet.
With the amulet.
Yeah.
They defeat the troll army. And then to make up for it, or to as a thank you gift for Taz, they provide this great feast.
Big buffet.
For all of them to eat.
Yeah.
And the queen asks, so does this meet your approval, Taz? And we get a picture again, and it's him eating like a chicken leg with all the Amazons just standing far off in the background. Sure. And it has him pinball around the table again.
Nom, 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 nom.
And Diana just ends with, he said it's fine. Now what are you going to eat? And that's where it ends. Ta-da.
That's a decent little story, though.
Yeah, it was cute.
I do want to go back to one thing here where Cersei turns one of the trolls into a chicken.
She does, because he can't find Wonder Woman, or he did something, I don't remember.
Maybe she run, maybe she's scared. No, Diana of Themyscira is many things, but she is not a coward. She is not and then poof, she turns one of the guys into a chicken. Huh. Yep. Yeah, that's not the best joke, but it's fine.
It works still.
This is cool, though. I mean, it's really well done. It's obviously a cash grab kind of thing.
But still, it was fun.
But it's a one-off. It's not like they tried to continue it.
No, that's true. I enjoyed it for what it was. Also, I had the idea of us doing this whole deep dive thing like halfway through the week, and I realized it's not enough time for me to prepare an episode.
It. Yeah.
So I needed to find something. Still, I thought it was good.
Perfect. Yeah,
I enjoyed it, and I've had a lot of fun with the DC Looney Tunes things. I'll bring in the Joker Daffy Little.
Yeah, I'd love to see that one. That'd be cool.
But there you go. So that is what we had this week. As always, thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. We are not the only podcast, though. We are a part of a great family of other podcasts on Rogue, as a part of, if I could talk, Rogue Media Network.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
So tons and tons and tons of great stuff out there. Mike, anything else before?
I think that's
your
it.
Squishmallow over here?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Does he have a name?
He does. Yeah. Chienda.
Or is it
Chienda? I don't know, man.
Okay, sorry.
Chienda. Chienda.
That's.
God bless you. We're just we keep going. We're putting out more shows. We're developing new stuff. We've got a bunch of new folks on board. Got a sales manager this week, so pretty excited about that.
Big things happening.
Yeah, it was good. After getting back from Denver, there was a lot to dive into.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's great. I was trying to think. There's a couple of shows that I'm working on now that are all and please, people, don't kill me, but they're all Chat GPT generated.
Oh, we talked about some of those
Yeah,
last week.
yeah. I think those will be fun.
All right.
Yeah, anytime you can get a robot to do your work.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, that's how it's going to be eventually. Anyway,
Sure.
I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords.
I do as well. I'm going to go to work for Spacely Sprockets.
Jetson?
Jetson!
That's way better than mine. All
Wasn't
right.
that Blanc also?
Was it?
I want to say that he did his voice.
I don't know. We'll figure that out for next
Yeah,
week.
we'll figure it out next week.
All right. As always, thank you guys. And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Golly, Con.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.